Good morning, comrades, and welcome to another action-packed video from inside my apartment here in Kuala Lumpur. Just to keep you up to date on what's been going on here for the last couple of weeks, or since the last video last week, the control order that was issued by the government about a month ago now has been extended for another 2 weeks until the end of April. So April 28th is the new date for the movement control order to expire. Now, as you probably have already guessed, it's possible that that order will be renewed for another week or so. As you get closer to the cutoff date, the government will make another decision. As I pointed out in the last video, it's not really a big burden on people. You just sort of have to stay at your house or in your apartment. You are allowed to go looking for food, and if you need to go to the pharmacy or something like that, these places are still open for business. It's just that people are encouraged to stay in their house. If you're not out doing something that's approved, like food shopping or making a trip to the clinic or the pharmacy or a hospital or something like that, you are not allowed to be out on the streets. People have been detained because they thought it was okay to go out for a jog or a run or to get some of your friends together and play some football or something like that. These things are not permitted. So it is meant to keep people in their homes. It's called a movement control order. It's not being called a lockdown, and it's not being called a quarantine. There are some people that are quarantined, however, and these are usually Malaysian citizens that have arrived in country recently from various other places on Earth. And because they don't know if these people have been infected with the virus, they are quarantined for 2 weeks. And they are quarantined in usually downtown hotels here in Kuala Lumpur. I don't know how many there are, and I don't know if there are quarantine centers in other cities in Malaysia. Right now, I'm pretty sure the only airport that's actually open is the Kuala Lumpur International Airport, the Kota Kinabalu and Kuching airports, which are both in Borneo. I think Penang is also open, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, so what else is happening? Yes. Earlier today, I was due to fly back to the United States, but leaving Kuala Lumpur, I would have 3 flights. One from KL, which is Kuala Lumpur, for all you insiders, to Tokyo, and then from Tokyo I would fly to Chicago, and then from Chicago I would fly to Scranton, Pennsylvania. I got an email from United Airlines that my flight from Chicago to Scranton was canceled. And I know that it's probably not unexpected that something like that would happen, but I thought, well, okay, I can get to Chicago and then figure out from there what I should do. Maybe rent a car, wait for another flight on a different day, take a bus, something like that. So that was my plan. But just to be on the safe side, I decided to check my other 2 flights from Kuala Lumpur to Tokyo and then from Tokyo to Chicago. And what I found is that the flight from KL to Tokyo was still go. At 7:10 this morning, it left from here to go to Tokyo. When I tried to check on my flight from Tokyo to Chicago, something weird happened. And as a database expert, I think I know what happened. That flight completely disappeared from the net. You could not find it. You couldn't search by flight number. You could not search for it by route. You could not search for it by date. And it even had 2 different flight numbers. One for United, which is who I booked the ticket through, and another one through All Nippon Airways, or ANA, which was the carrier that was operating the flight from Tokyo to Chicago. So just a tip, and the airlines are probably going through this a lot right now, and I'm sure they have people that know this already, and it might have just been a silly mistake or a new person taking care of the flight schedules, but you never ever delete a record from a database. Never delete the record, because I think that's what happened here. The record of my flight from Tokyo to Chicago was deleted. Not my flight, the flight, everybody's flight. That particular flight from Tokyo to Chicago was deleted from the database. So when the system goes to look for it, obviously it doesn't find it because it isn't there. And that little ball you see, or the little, hourglass you see, never goes away. The system doesn't know what to do. It can't find the record. It's found everything else it needs to display your information, but it doesn't have that record. So it keeps on looking and it gets stuck. It doesn't know what to do. And that's because the record has been deleted instead of simply marked inactive, canceled, or something else. There's a way to mark these records if a flight is canceled or something like that, but deleting the record is never a good idea. Anyway, I ended up not going home, obviously. I'm still sitting here in Kuala Lumpur and, just schedule a flight for some other day. And I think more towards the end of this month, I'm going to have to do that because my visa or my pass to be in Malaysia is expiring. Next on my list of topics here is my walking. I'm no longer an urban hiker. No, I'm an urban couch sitter-oner. So I watch a lot of YouTube here. I do a lot of coding. I do a lot of writing for my business. And the little walking that I do get done is mainly to go out and buy breakfast and lunch sometimes, and occasionally groceries. It's all one trip. If I go out for the day, it's only in one trip. It's not like I go out for lunch, then I go out for dinner. That doesn't happen. It's one trip, get everything you need for the day, and then you're done. So the walking that I normally did here was an average of between 9 and 12 kilometers a day, which was pretty good. It took me about 2 hours, maybe 2.5, 3 hours, depending on what I was doing. I'm not a power walker. I just get out and walk. I'm not in a hurry. I just walk. I take care of all my errands. By the time I got back to my apartment, I had covered 9 to 12 kilometers. Nowadays, my walking has been cut back quite a bit. I am now walking probably less than 6 kilometers. Some days it's 3 or 4, depending on where I have to go. The last thing I want to talk about is what I've been watching on TV, and that is a British TV series, and I think it's from the 90s or maybe the early 2000s, called Midsummer Murders. Now, some of you probably have seen this. I think it was on Lifetime television a long time ago. Like Lifetime Movies or something like that. I forget what it is. It deals with two characters that solve murders in a rural English town. Now, when you see this and you actually think about it, this is probably the most dangerous place on earth, because every week there is some murder in this rural English town. And sometimes more than one. Sometimes in one episode, I think there were 4 murders, all revolving around one central issue. So anyway, that's what I'm hooked on now. YouTube has a lot of that stuff. I think I have seen almost all of them so far, or I might have a few more to go, but that's what I'm looking at right now. So hopefully I'll have a little bit more interesting things to talk about in the next video. But if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them. You cannot travel to Malaysia at this time. It doesn't matter who you are, unless you're working for another government. If you're a diplomat or if you're a Malaysian citizen, you can come. But otherwise, no one else is allowed in. So stay away. Don't try to come in. Don't ask me how you can get into Malaysia, because I don't know. Right now, everything I know says that you can't get into Malaysia. So that's it from here. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll stick around and catch whatever the video is next week. And if you haven't already subscribed, there's something you can do. I mean, you have a lot of free time. Subscribing doesn't take that much time, maybe 2 seconds. Now's a good time to subscribe. Thanks for watching.